I spoke to a GM who I really trust and is really good, and he's like, well, if you're looking for the best pure thrower of the ball, it's Tyler Shough.
Never heard of him, Pete.
Okay, and I'm looking at this list here on your board, and there are several other names, and Tyler Shough's not one of them.
There's a quarterback in this draft class who's already married, has a 4.6 40, a rocket arm, and 7 years of college football under his belt. And no, it's not Stetson Bennett or Bo Nix reincarnated. His name is Tyler Shough. And the weirdest thing about him isn't the pronunciation of his last name, though that's worth a quick detour.
He said it rhymes with...
It is Shough, by the way. It's that after all of this time, he might just be getting started. And as a man old enough to rent a car, he has become the monkey wrench of the 2025 NFL Draft, a guy whose name we not only could not pronounce, but a lot of us didn't even know as recently as a month ago. A complete unknown quarterback turned fringe first rounder, and according to some people, the best quarterback in this draft.
I don't want anyone to be surprised if Tyler Shough's the best or the second best of this year's quarterback class.
Wow.
He's getting private workouts with numerous quarterback-needy teams. But before we talk about that, and I think this is appropriate, let's find out who the hell this guy actually is. Is he the guy who ripped the only pass that could top a Will Levis blunder, or is he the guy who throws these FDRs? And will he succeed in the league? I'll try and answer that in today's episode of That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon Perna, and I'd love it if you subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm deeply insecure, and I feel like I have no value unless you subscribe and like the video, and I see those numbers go up. Check your balls. Check them. Today's episode is sponsored by manscaped.com/goodsports. One of my favorite things Manscaped does every year is partner with the Testicular Cancer Society, a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization. TCS and Manscaped are committed to raising awareness and giving support for fighters, survivors, and families impacted by testicular cancer. And Manscaped will be donating $50,000 to the Testicular Cancer Society to help save lives and promote routine self-checks. Routine self-checks aren't just important, they are really fun to do. Manscaped just dropped a special edition bundle, the TCS Ball Hero Bundle, which includes the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, TCS Special Edition, and Special Edition TCS Boxers 2.0. And I don't get to talk about Manscaped's boxers enough, but they are quite literally the best boxers I've ever worn in my life. And you can get the limited edition boxers, which are perfect if you're an avid hunter and you're trying to land your first 3-point grimace. If you're watching right now, I'd love for you to do a testes check. Pretend like I'm watching you. Pretend like I'm watching you. There you go. No, it's not weird. I just want you to be safe. As always, my link will get you 20% off and free shipping. But this month, if you want to learn more about how to check yourself or donate to the Testicular Cancer Society, visit manscaped.com/TCS. I'll be watching you. Despite being relatively anonymous to a lot of football fans, Tyler Shough has been around forever. And yet, if you actually look at his college career, it feels like we still haven't seen the full picture. A part of that is circumstance, part of that is injury, and part of it is the sheer chaos of playing quarterback at 3 different schools across 7 seasons. The 7 seasons of a college QB. I'd watch that docuseries. But the thing you come away with when you watch his film is this. If he's not one of the most NFL-ready quarterbacks in this class, then what exactly are we looking for? Shough was born in 1999. I have to assume he's going to be the last quarterback born in the 20th century to ever hear his name called at the NFL Draft. And that's making me feel ancient. He'll be 26 years old before he ever takes an NFL snap, which makes him incredibly old by draft standards. Only Brandon Weeden and Chris Wanke were older when they got drafted, both of them being 28 years old when they heard their names called. Is that a bad thing? because you could just as easily flip that and say he's experienced, hardened, and has spent more time in college film rooms than some NFL coaches.
I've kind of had a crash course of the NFL. You got guys who are going to get cut, injured in the NFL. They're going to get benched. I feel much more mentally and physically equipped to go out there and handle the task because I've gone through it.
We're coming off a season, though, where we saw really good things from elder rookies like Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix.
You see with Bo Nix and Penix and Jaden Daniels, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, guys are kind of really getting into their stride after they've kind of gone through some stuff. And then you got MVP level play by Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers well into their late 30s and Stafford.
I think the stigma of ageism is beginning to wear off. Shough is a guy who backed up Justin Herbert at Oregon, beat USC for a Pac-12 title, broke his collarbone twice, his fibula once, and managed to turn his 7th season into a late career breakout. If resilience is a quarterback trait, and it absolutely is, then Shough is basically the football version of a cockroach in a nuclear winter. You just can't kill him. Now, Shough's high school career at Hamilton in Arizona was promising, but overshadowed by controversy. Not because of him, he was clean, but because his team got caught up in a hazing scandal that rocked the program. While that was happening, Shough quietly went out and set a bunch of school records. Then he flipped a verbal commitment from North Carolina to Oregon and arrived in Eugene as a highly ranked 4-star quarterback. This was 2 presidential terms ago, by the way. But Oregon already had its guy, Dylan Gabriel. Bo Nix. Before Bo, Justin Herbert. Shough is older than Bo and played quarterback before him at Oregon. So Shough redshirted, backed up Herbert, and learned. Then when Herbert left for the NFL, the job was his. In 2020, the COVID season, he started all 7 games and led the Ducks to a Pac-12 title. The numbers solid. He threw for 1,559 yards, 13 TDs, 6 picks, and added over 270 rushing yards to the mix. But 2 straight losses in the middle of the season shook the fan base's confidence, and in the Fiesta Bowl against Iowa State, the Ducks trotted out transfer QB Anthony Brown for a few drives. It felt like a vote of no confidence, and Shough could see the writing on the wall. So he left. He hit the portal and transferred to Texas Tech. It felt like a good match, a Big 12 offense that throws the ball a ton and a fresh start. But then the injury curse kicked in. In 2021, he broke his collarbone against Texas. In 2022, he re-broke it because, incredibly, he hadn't gotten surgery the first time. Once he did, though, he returned for the final 6 games of the season and started bawling out of his mind. His best game came in the Texas Bowl against Ole Miss, 242 passing yards, a touchdown, and 111 rushing yards and 2 more scores. He looked like the player Tex thought it was getting all along. 2023 should have been his full circle season. He won the job again, started strong, and then boom, broken fibula against West Virginia. Done after 4 games. Somebody get this man some goddamn calcium so those bones can mature. At this point, you could have forgiven him for walking away, but Shough had a plan. He wasn't going out like that. No, he transferred again, this time to Louisville. Louisville. Specifically because Jeff Brom ran a pro-style offense with NFL concepts, under center snaps, and heavy QB responsibility at the line of scrimmage. Shough wanted to prove he could play in that environment, and he did. In 2024, for the first time in 7 years, Shough was healthy, and he delivered. His bones stayed intact. In 12 games, he threw for 3,195 yards, 23 TDs, 6 picks, completed 62.7% of his passes. Louisville went 8-4. He orchestrated a huge road win against Clemson. He dueled Cam Ward in a shootout loss to Miami where he threw 4 touchdowns and looked every bit the equal of the guy many have mocked at number 1 overall. For his efforts, Shough earned all ACC honorable mention and capped it off with a strong showing at the Senior Bowl. Voted top QB by his teammates there. He had an elite athletic performance at the Combine. That's really when the rise began. Shough escaped anonymity. he became a guy who is now being talked about as a fringe first-round draft pick. Now, this is where things get tricky. On one hand, you've got a quarterback who's a perfect 6'5", 219 pounds, ran a 4.6 40, has a cannon of an arm, operated in a pro-style offense. On paper, that's a day 2 guy minimum, maybe even late first rounder if a team is in love with him, knowing they can net that 5th-year option. On the other hand, he's 26, with a medical file that looks like an orthopedic surgeon's retirement plan. He's only played 1 full healthy season, and under pressure, he has a tendency to do some crazy-ass shit. He's the wild card in a game of wild card.
Where are you? I'm so sorry.
When Shough's clean, he's surgical. In fact, according to PFF, he ranked 12th in EPA per drop back when not pressured, better than Jaxon Dart, Shedeur Sanders, and most of the class. He reads coverages well, makes checks at the line, throws with anticipation, and can hit every level of the field. He's especially good at fade routes, deep digs, and post concepts. Louisville asked him to make real throws, not gimmick reads, and he delivered. The numbers are never going to be eye-popping in those kinds of offenses in college, but learning and executing those concepts gets you ready to hit the ground running as a potential day 1 starter. He's also great against the blitz. His EPA per drop back against extra pressure was better than almost anyone in this class. He diagnoses pressure, adjusts protection, and gets the ball out on time. He just doesn't always do that when he's surprised. His pressure to sack rate is elite, but that's partially because he chucks the ball the moment he feels the heat. And that occasionally leads to disaster. The underhand flip against Stanford. Yeah, we saw it, you saw it, I watched it again, you watched it again, it's fucking hilarious. Not a great highlight you want making the rounds, and you'd think a guy who's about to be kicked off his parents' health insurance would have a little more awareness than to do this. But I should remind everyone that this is the 2025 NFL Draft and spotless resumes at the QB position do not exist. We're taking the good with the bad when we talk about any of these quarterbacks. But here's what you're gonna love. It's the mental toughness. For Shough, that's unshakable. His mom has been battling stage 4 cancer since he was 5 years old. His brother passed away when he was young. He's dealt with more off-field adversity than most players will in a lifetime, and he's never once used it as an excuse. His family is ridiculously tight-knit. His leadership skills are off the charts. Coaches rave about him. He's married, mature, and built to be the adult in the QB room from day fucking 1. He is ready for the NFL's Call of Duty. And not the way Kyler is ready for the Call of Duty every year while being in the NFL.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 and Modern Warfare 2. Those are my fondest and my oldest memories.
I also don't want to gloss over the fact that a 6'5" quarterback ran a 4.6 40-yard dash at the combine. That's just not the kind of thing anyone was expecting to see, and he definitely played it up in front of the crowd at Indianapolis, leading Daniel Jeremiah to compare him to a certain child-producing quarterback.
See, there's the Phillip Rivers. There's the Phillip Rivers side of it right there.
I can also picture Phillip Rivers making that weird underhand flip and then making a completely non-human face on the sideline.
He's a guy that really gets it.
Shough also boasts a 9.7 RAS score, which puts him in the 96th percentile of athletic nerd metrics. He also had a really bad throw at the combine. But since Brett Coleman posted that clip of the bad throw to show a negative trait, Shough is destined to become the next Tom Brady.
It's like he fell off the hanger for a minute. He just kind of goes, ugh. It's one throw, but it was just so odd that I was like, what's that? And then I couldn't unsee it when I went back to tape.
Well, if you're looking for the best pure thrower of the ball, it's Tyler Shough.
So what's the value? If you're the Browns at, say, 33, and you've already missed out on Ward and Sanders, you could do a lot worse than grabbing Shough there. Same goes for the Seahawks after the first round, or even the Giants or Jets if they're looking to develop someone behind a placeholder.
I've had 10 draft visits scheduled right now. Early on, it was Steelers, Colts. We got Browns, Giants coming up, Seahawks, Raiders, Titans, and Jets.
He's not Brandon Whedon. He's not a meme. He's just older, although he does have some of the meme throws. And in a quarterback class that lacks truly polished prospects, being older and NFL ready isn't exactly a knock.
If you're asking me for one clip that I saw and I said, yeah, I see it, I like it, there's a lot to like. If I'm the Browns, if I'm the Rams, if I'm these teams that run similar systems like this, I'm going, yeah, that looks like our guy. It looks like a guy that we like to be able to operate stuff like this.
On tape, he throws with easy velocity. His mechanics are clean, his release is lightning fast, and he doesn't need much space to uncork a 50-yard fucking bomb. You see that rotational torque in his hips when he throws off platform? Do you see it? Do you know what rotational torque is in a man's hips? Because I do, goddammit, and it is beautiful with Shough.
I can throw with just on my right foot and everything's spinning around on my left foot ending up over here because I'm generating the force from the ground, harnessing that force to be able to create the movement in my hips and shoulders, and the arm at the last second is just kind of along for the ride.
He's not a runner per se, but he's good enough of an athlete to pick up a first down on scrambles and had 8 rushing touchdowns in his career. I talked about the underhand flip earlier, but he's also capable of making plays like this. He reminds people of Derek Carr. Not the current version, double parked and booted in New Orleans, but the Raiders era Derek Carr. The one who had enough talent to win, a quick trigger, and just needed the right infrastructure around him.
I was playing Madden back there. Cut back. Left.
Shough's most likely not going to be Josh Allen, but he could be Jared Goff-esque with more mobility. I see a lot of each of those guys in Shough. And while that might not get a lot of fans fired up, you'd be extremely fortunate to end up with Derek Carr or Jared Goff in this draft. I think if you could guarantee that outcome, Shough wouldn't even make it out of the top 5. He looks like a guy who can play in structure, make real NFL throws, and be the steady hand a team like the Giants or the Browns might need. I think he's got the experience and temperament to weather those two situations, and that could end up being a best case scenario while one of those teams lands someone like Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter with their first pick and is still able to locate their franchise quarterback, perhaps on even the same day. Tyler Shough says he believes he's the best quarterback in this class.
I think I'm the best quarterback in this class. I think just the combination of what I've gone through mentally and experience-wise, and then in my physical tools.
Maybe that's a stretch, but the confidence is justified. He's been through it. He's gotten better, and he looked excellent in Louisville's complex offense that asked him to do things that many college quarterbacks never touch. Diana Rossini said,
I had a head coach in the NFL, a current one, tell me that he thinks that Tyler Shough is the best quarterback in this class. And I even said, better than Cam Ward? He said, better than Cam Ward.
It's not just an anonymous coach either. I think we all hold the name Todd McShay in high esteem, and McShay spoke very highly of Shough about a month ago on the Rich Eisen show.
He's got the tools. He's bigger than all the other quarterbacks. He's just as, if not more mobile than all the other top quarterbacks. His arm's up there with all the top quarterbacks, better than Shedeur's. And his ball placement is right there too.
Shough himself was on the Rich Eisen show around the same time, and watching the whole thing, it's hard to come away from that interview not really liking and rooting for the guy. I have to imagine that scouts and general managers are getting the same impression from him, especially if he's not going to cost as much draft capital as some of the other guys in this draft, all of whom have some kind of flaw or shortcoming, right? And as always, all it takes is one team, perhaps the team with an anonymous head coach who sung his praises, to turn Shough into a first-round pick. And it will be incredible to see the fans of that said team freaking out and yelling, "Who the fuck is Shough? Who the fuck is Shough? Seriously, who the fuck is Shough?" Not you though, because you watched this video. Did you thumbs it up? Did you like it? I hope he's great, especially after learning about him. The chances of him being bad are far more likely. That simple probability, coupled with injury concerns and hard to evaluate film for reasons kind of outside of his control. For every person hyping him up, there's someone else out there who's entirely perplexed by his rise.
He'll just do something inexplicable, and you're like, Tyler, what the hell are you doing?
I'm 25 and I still don't know crap.
I certainly am to an extent, but hopefully we helped show you what might be catching scouts and GM's attention. He's quite literally the most mysterious player at the quarterback position heading into the draft that I can recall recently anyway. I find him fascinating. Will he go in the first round? It's starting to look more and more likely. I hope he does because it's a great story. All it takes is that team to see the arm, the leadership, the frame, and say, we will take him over the project guys. And there's a lot of projection heading into this draft with the 5th-year option at stake. I think it's very possible that a team trades back into the first round, snags Tyler Shough. Although, of course, by the time that 5th year rolls around, Shough will be 87 years old, kept alive by bottles of Ensure and Metamucil. All right, is that the last of the age jokes? I think so. Mel Kiper released a 3-round mock draft a week ahead of this draft and has the Giants taking him at 34 overall. Again, you don't get that 5th-year option if you're New York, but you could walk away feeling like you won the draft after getting an elite player like Abdul Carter at 3rd overall and a polished passer at the top of the 2nd round. You hit on both of those picks and suddenly the rebuild gets accelerated, like we saw in Houston a couple years ago with C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. It's a big if, but that's the type of haul GMs are dreaming of to reset their fortunes. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Again, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Shocking and surprising. Who's this guy that's mysteriously rising? His name is Shough and he don't give a fuck. You're gonna hear his name called by Joseph Buck and he doesn't have to go to a team that sucks. It's Tyler Shough. It's Tyler Shough. It's Tyler Shough. It's Tyler Shough.
I think I have the full package.
He has got an absolute cannon.
My physical tools.
I don't watch porn.